Coming out of the gate, there was a lot of uneasiness, I would say, on what was going to happen. A lot of the guys were already saying like they're not going to grant the religious exemptions. You know, a lot of us thought this was a game of chicken, basically, on who would budge first. Is it going to be the agency or is it going to be the governor? You know, for me, it was a very definitive line. Like, I'm not getting the shot, and I will lose my job over it. And that was the way I was from the get-go. And it was really nice having my sergeant at the time, who was also in agreement with me, standing there with me and saying, yeah, I'm not going to do this. It was rough. It was a lot of stress. It was really hard to wake up every day and go to work and still do the job with the same quality, you know. My last day, I had a whole bunch of contacts with people, and I was going to collisions and everything, and I was doing the job that I was, you know, signed up to do originally. Yeah, my final day was really hard. I got home. You know, you come home after like a day at work and you rip your vest off and it's all the Velcro noise, you know, and getting home and not having any of that noise or anything. It was just like, it was different. And yeah, so it was pretty rough. The last day was definitely the worst for sure. It hurt. Oh yeah, I definitely feel betrayed by the agency, not as a whole though. It's mainly the assistant chiefs and the chiefs of the patrol. I felt honestly betrayed by them at that point, when they were saying, oh, you need to get the vaccine, or, you know, like, basically get fired. Like that's there's no option. There wasn't any support. Basically, I felt like I was the bad guy at this point. So it hurt a lot hearing the chief basically say, you know, jump on the bus or get run over by it. It was kind of brutal hearing that. It was pretty hurtful at that point. I was like, okay, well, obviously the agency is not in it for us anymore. They're in it for themselves. And so at that point, it was no question at that point that I was gone. I feel like people should have the right to their medical freedom. You start looking at, you know, what's happened in like Nazi Germany in the past, you know, and other countries where this kind of stuff has been implemented. It's kind of like seeing the writing on the wall. If you've ever like looked at a history book, the same things are repeating themselves, and nobody's opening their eyes enough to look and see what's actually occurring. It was really terrible when they said that in our oath, you say that you're going to uphold the Constitution, and then you're also going to uphold the laws that are created by the governor. Well, when they came out with this, they only talked about the laws that are made by the governor. They didn't talk about upholding the Constitution, which I was like, I'm not serving the governor. That's a dictatorship. I'm serving the laws that the people have implemented over a century. And I'm not going to go back on those just because our governor wants to change something. So I did this a lot more for the general public. I mean, that's my whole job, is to serve and protect people. And I'm not going to protect people under a dictatorship. That's not what I signed up to do. You get to the point of, yes, this is just vaccines now, but when does the point come where the governor steps in? Oh, we're going to start taking the general public's guns away from them, you know, and then they ask the state patrol to go in and do that. Who as an officer, this is kind of a proving point at this point, is what cops are going to stick around and put up with it, and which ones are going to walk away and say, no, this is wrong. And I just didn't want to be one of those people that are going to go against the constitutional rights just because I want to have a paycheck at the end of the day. I'm very much a supporter of everything that people have done in our past to get us to the place we are now, and to basically blow that away and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I just don't want to be a part of that. Yeah, if you look at like what we're allowed to do with like HIPAA laws and everything, this is completely wrong. There's no way, if I walk into a clinic right now and I go ask for somebody's medical record, there's no way they're going to give them to me. So why am I demanded now to carry around my medical records and show them to random people like in King County? I would never do that in a million years. I'm not going to go around saying, oh, I got this shot. Here's my whole vaccine list from the past 10 years of my life. Here you go. Make sure you review this before you let me come and eat in your restaurant. This is all a government issue at this point. This is statewide, and it's coming down the pipeline whether people want to believe it or not. So it's time that something changes. Because this is, as every little bit of power they get and every little right they get to take away, they'll just keep going for the next one until we stand up as a community and say, no, this is enough, we're done. But yeah, this is super illegal what they're doing. There's no way that they could ever justify this. Yeah, actually, my wife and we talked about this. It reminds me a lot of the mark of the beast in the Bible. It's very singled out. It's as if we didn't have enough polar opposites in this country already. Now we have the unvaccinated and the vaccinated, and it seems like there's no in between. Either you're on one side or you're on the other, and that's your definitive line. But it's very much like that. In the Mark of David that's a great example. It's basically a marking system for the government to now track you and understand if you're going to comply with what the government wants you to do or not. And I'm fearful of what that looks like. Like they're already doing in Germany, they've already locked down all the unvaccinated people. And they're not letting them leave their homes. And I can't believe we're letting this happen again, almost 100 years later. I don't know if it's the education system that has failed everybody, but it doesn't take a lot of reading to understand what's occurring. I could never fathom this when I was growing up. I was like, when I was growing up reading history books about what was going on in Germany during World War II, you look at that and like, how did the entire population of Germany just let this slide? Like, how was anybody okay with this? And now I'm looking at what's going on right now. I'm like, oh, this is how everybody's okay with it. They put everybody in fear, and then everybody will give up their rights because they're scared. And the coronavirus isn't that bad. If you look at stats compared to the coronavirus and car crashes that kill people, car crashes kill way more people than the coronavirus ever has. So why aren't we just banning cars? Why don't we just start making people walk everywhere again? I mean, to say that you're scared of the coronavirus, you just shouldn't drive a car then, if you're worried about dying from it. So, yeah, it's pretty rough to think about that. I've heard from people in the patrol that do regret getting it. Some of them feel like they made the wrong choice. And the numbers that are dropping out of the patrol right now to go to different agencies because of the lack of leadership in the patrol is significant. There's been rumors that they're going to lose another 30 troopers just to other agencies now. I've never felt it in my life, but I felt very compelled by God to not get the shot. I've never once felt just a presence around me saying, this is wrong and it's time for you to stand up. Because I worked hard for this. I remember laying in bed months before with my wife, and I was like, I love my job. I'm telling her that before all this vaccine stuff came out. I'm like, I love what I do. I could never imagine myself doing anything other than this. Like this is what I want to be doing. And then months later, it was like, oh yeah, we're going to take that away from you. And I don't want to live in a country where I don't have a say or a voice in anything that happens. And definitely during this, I felt super powerless. I felt I just didn't know what to do with myself. So freedom to me is just being able to live your life the way you want to live your life without the government interfering with every single ounce of it. Because as soon as they start coming for your body, there's no end at that point. And because your body's the only thing that you can ever own, basically. Your body, your mind, and your soul are all you got. You start giving up that, you're not going to have anything left. God gave me this body and this soul. I'm not going to let the government control that part of me now. It's all I have that spiritually connects me to Him. My great-grandpa was a World War II vet, and then I had another great-grandpa that also fought in World War II, and I had a grandpa that fought in Vietnam. So the sacrifices they gave and the turmoil they went through over in those foreign countries to basically protect what we have right now, for people to just give up, I was like, so basically my grandparents did it for no reason. And so they protected this supposedly free country for you to let our government act the same way that those governments they were fighting against treat us the same way. It's hard to see as it's like being spit in the face, basically. And I just don't know how else to say it any better. It hurts. I'd say if you're being forced with a vaccine mandate for any agency, wherever you are, whatever state, if it hasn't been implemented yet, the whole agency as a whole, all the troopers or deputies or whatever, need to band together and say, we are not doing this. I wish it's what WSP would have done. I wish all the troopers together would have said, no, we're not getting the shot no matter what. And as we did that as an agency, we'd have been so much better off. Nobody would have got fired. Also, your unions need to stand up for you. You need to get your unions on board and say, we as an agency aren't doing this, and you guys need to fight for us because no one's doing this. Our union was very lackadaisical in it. They didn't seem to care at first, and I would still say they probably didn't care as much as they should have. This experience for me has been major. Like, I talked to Roba before this interview with you, and he was like, you need to do it. It's really eye-opening. It helps you talk through what you've, basically what you've been bottling up, even if you don't know you've been bottling up. He was the one that really was like, you need to do this, and I'm very glad I did. So if anybody else has similar stories, they need to reach out to you and talk to you about this, because this was very helpful, and at least my story's been shared now, and it feels like what I fought for is at least now out there for people to know.